morning, everybody. My name's Amanda Jenkins, and I shall be doing this presentation this morning. Welcome to any new viewers, and welcome back to those that have viewed before. I've been with Silvalea for nearly 25 years, so over that time I've gained a lot of knowledge on slings and their suitability. And today we're going to look at in-situ options. So we know how important it is to have options available for leave in place. But when deciding to leave a sling in place, it has to depend on various factors. So we'll go through that. We've just had a good morning. Thank you. A new viewer there. But each individual case is different. So, you know, a full plan must be established as to whether leaving a sling in will be suitable. You know, weighing up the options of whether there's a benefit of leaving it in, either to reduce handling, reduce the fact of shearing, getting the sling in and out. But you've got to then determine that, because the sling is not a pressure relieving product. So you need to think about whether there's going to be any issues with leaving that product in place. But we've got a few options to share. So we'll go through that and then talk about different styles, the different fabric choices we can offer. But please talk to us in case there's a scenario you'd like to share with us and we can help. So I'm going to start by explaining the fabric choices, because Silvalea have 3 options for you. And everything's on the website, so don't worry about trying to remember everything, because there's quite a lot of information. But there's a material page which will help with the choices and the specifications, and also a section on the in-situ sling designs. So it's all there after the session. So 3 different fabric options, and my colleague Judith's going to help me. I'm just going to talk about fabric choices to start with.
Good morning.
So the first option of fabric is a silver super fine. It's a fine mesh fabric. It's lightweight and has lots of stretch. So this is the silver super fine. It's got inherent Coolmax in. So Coolmax is an additive that helps to wick away moisture. So if you have anyone that's got a temperature control issue, then having the additive Coolmax in is beneficial for that situation. So the silver superfine with Coolmax. This is the single layer. So a single layer like this has a weight limit of 10 stone, which is 64 kilograms. So ideal for children and smaller adults. If you like this type of fabric and you have a heavier weight, then we double layer it. So we have 2 layers. So this is the same sling or same fabric, but there's 2 layers. So it's like a bladder. So it just actually fits together on top of each other. That part there. So this then, having the 2 layers, stabilizes the stretch. So it doesn't stretch and stretch. Whereas the single layer will stretch and stretch before it lifts. So that's why we put a double layer for any medium size and above. And that will take the weight limit to 220, which is 35 stone. So hopefully I haven't lost you already. So single layer, 10 stone or 64 kilograms, double layer, 220, 35 stone. So that's the superfine with Coolmax. So superfine with Coolmax, it's a mesh. So it's a nice lightweight mesh, so often it's used for bathing as well. It does have, as I said, a lot of stretch, so it's very good to hug natural curvatures. So if you have anyone that's got significant curvature, it will find and hug the natural curves of the body. So that's another benefit to the fabric. It does come in a little mesh bag for laundering, because it's quite delicate. You know, it's a fine mesh. So we encourage you to use the mesh or pillowcase for laundering so it doesn't get caught and snag. So that's the superfine with Coolmax. single or double layer. We okay so far? So the third option is your spacer. So the black spacer, which is a popular leave-in fabric. It's a 3-dimensional mesh, so it's quite spongy, has layers, so it will compress down, slightly thicker. It is still a mesh, so you could use it for bathing. The benefits of this is less stretch. So if you didn't want it to be too stretchy, then it's more robust. So it would support a little bit more than the stretchier version, but very well known, always in the black. So that's the thicker one. This one, whatever size, will be 220, 35 stone weight limit. So hopefully we're okay there with the fabrics. So let's just, thanks Jude. So 3 choices: single layer superfine, double layer superfine, or the black spacer, which is superfine plus. So those 3. Each of them has their benefits and slightly different weight limits, so just be mindful of that. So those are the options of fabric, and the fabrics have been very carefully chosen because we know that if a sling's left in place, it's got to have some give, it's got to be smooth. So we're mindful of that. So the fabrics are, suitable and have been very successful for many years. So when we look at the styles, then we have various shapes to offer, depending on the different situation. So we've had a recent viewer join, so welcome. If I can kindly ask you to turn your microphone off, it would help, so that it doesn't interfere with the session. Thank you very much. So we've looked at the fabric, now with the styles. We do have several options to offer, and it depends on the situation. So we have a very standard shape. The standard shape, which is straight leg, thanks Jude. A straight leg. So a very general shape sling. So I'm sure you're all very familiar with the general universal shape sling. It works the same. It's the same style, but in one of these specialized fabrics. So you have to think about which style suits that different individual. And if they're compliant and everything's quite straightforward, they're symmetrical, then a straight leg option could be considered. Having a divided leg like this will also enable you to carry out hygiene transfers. So it depends on, if you need to do that, it's essential, then the divided leg options, you can achieve that. If, however, you don't want the divided leg, then we'll look at another option. But, during your risk assessment, it may be that this is the most appropriate style and that you need to often do a hygiene transfer. So then you can have enough access with this one. So all the leave-in, in-situ options will have, they're made in one piece. So we try and make it without too many seams, no handles. There's no positioning handles because we know that then could potentially have pressure points. So we make it all in one. The leg sections will always have the slip fit to both sides for ease of application. So to help ease in the leg because of this slip fit fabric. So nice soft fabric there. The labelling on the slings now, if you've joined us for our other sessions, you'll know that we often talk about the labelling. Our labels now are all woven. They're woven rather than printed, so they don't fade. But all the information that you need on there, the size, the safe working load, the code, any safety instructions, clearly printed on that label, because it's essential that you can read those safety instructions. Otherwise, you need to withdraw the sling from use. So it's a LOLA requirement that the information is clearly visible on that label. So always check that the label is clear. On a leave-in sling, it's usually on the seam rather than sewn into the back. Other labelling is colour-coded sizing guide there. Unique serial number and barcode for traceability. The service label on the back. So service label is a visual reference to when the sling was last checked, and it can be notched out there when it was serviced. Servicing usually would occur when the hoist is checked. And it's a common sense check for slings. It's just literally a visual check by a competent person to check there's no signs of any deterioration, stitch breakdown, the label's legible, the tapes are in good order, there's no fraying, there's no snagging, there's no holing on the main body. It's really important every time the sling's used to just have a quick visual check. But the main 6 to 12 month checks can be then marked on the label there. Sizing generally across the board with most sling companies, small is red, medium is yellow, green is large. So that's general. When it's a larger or smaller size, it makes it different. How are we doing? Any questions? This particular style then, if you are familiar with it, it's a general shape. Think of it as a general purpose sling design. And as I said earlier, use it for standard general scenarios. It's a very straightforward style. I wouldn't use it if you've got someone with more challenging behaviour, that's maybe more asymmetrical in shape. So think of it just as standard. The legs apply in the usual. I won't hoist this one, we've got others to hoist, but if I just explain those leg sections as they come through up to the hoist, what can happen with this shape is as the hoist takes up the slack, the legs pull through and can slightly externally rotate the hip. So for anyone that has got hip issues, I wouldn't use this particular shape. And also if anyone's very active and extends, the legs are going to shoot up into their groin. So think about this one as your very standard situation. If you have someone more challenging, then we'll look at a different shape. So this is our In-Situ Deluxe. So Deluxe is slightly different, where it's got different shaped paddles to the legs. And this is a great style. So we make, this one of our most popular slings for leave-in. So we know it's very successful. I'm going to put it on Judith to show you. Well, so we're making it look easy. Jude's very compliant. We've got a nice open chair. So we're going to be doing a lot of cheating, but we just hope that some of this information you can then use in your particular situation. With all slings that are divided, if you're applying in a chair, it's essential you get the sling as low as possible down to the base here, so that those leg paddles then wrap around fully to the femur, towards the back of the knee. Always try and get the sling legs down and fully towards the knee. It will naturally readjust when we hoist, but if you start it low, then it's less likely to pull right up. Don't worry about the top section. This top section will sort itself out. Just get it down as far as possible. Likewise, if you're applying it on a bed, make sure it's the base of it is as low as possible, so those leg paddles can wrap around. So you see this particular style, so this is the In-Situ Deluxe, it wraps around the femur. And then you connect the legs with this little modesty loop here, this red loop. So it connects those paddles together. If you don't connect the paddles, then the legs will naturally splay and open up the aperture. So you just need to be mindful of that. So keeping that connected, and then take the tape from the outside and feed it through. So essentially now we're picking the legs up from the outside. So thinking about the first standard style, this now is picking the legs up here. So there's no rotation, there's no pulling through. It's going to give much more support to the hips and the legs from the outside of the leg there. So if we just hook this up, go short shoulder, long leg. It's all about working out the optimum pickup position And once you've done that, then it's documented in the care plan. So for consistent, you're right, I'll just take up the slack. So for consistent care, then the carers then look in that care plan. Right, I've just attached the shoulders and the leg, and now we've got the head support. So the head support, there's two options of attaching it, which I'll just explain. One of them's the tape threaded through the shoulder, one of them is separate. Before we go too far, always check we haven't got the chair. Oh, we have something's not come off. Are you right? Yes. Which often happens, you get things tangled up. There's a lot going on, there's lots of tapes. But if we just look at the style, if we look at the legs, so the legs here are giving really good support to Judith's femur there. It's positioned right behind her knee, so really good position there. It's wrapping around her body. It's naturally finding the contours very smoothly. So lots of support there. The head support, if you've got your head back, Jude. So there's two options of attaching these tapes. As I said, you can either thread it through and it literally comes undone like that. So you can feed it through the shoulder loop. So whatever you're attaching, feed it through that loop there. And then back into the slider and through other side. And then you can tighten it to the required position. That's one option. And then it's on there. So it's on there. You don't need to readjust it. However, you can also take the loop. We've created this loop directly to the hoist. And sometimes that directional pull direct to the hoist is better than it being lower. If it's lower and you've got somebody with lots of head movement, it may be more comfortable and more supported to go direct. So the angle is slightly higher, depending on the hoist type. So the two options are there. The head support area also has these stiffeners or bones, and they're removable. And often people do take them out because they can be quite firm and dig in and too supportive. But if Jude puts her head back, you've still got the support, and her head now naturally fits into that area, and the head support naturally finds the shaping rather than have the firmness of the bones. These also would need to be taken out when you're launching the sling, otherwise they'll just bend up. So those are the head support section. Just coming down then, we can see here the base of the sling is allowing enough access for hygiene. So if we've done a transfer, of course, clothing would have to be removed earlier, but there is enough there to achieve toileting if required. But what I've done on this one is I've added a tape here. So this is a hip tape. And so an extra tape, an extra option. So that if you've got someone that's quite active, I'll let you be active in a minute, Judith. It helps to control that area. So if you've got someone that's sinking, put a tape there and it helps to lift the bottom. By lifting that area, it distributes the weight and takes pressure from behind the knee. So for anyone that's got painful joints, significant pain, arthritis, osteoporosis, having a tape there really helps. And they look like this. It's a detachable loop with a slider. So you need to attach it to the loop on the sling, which you'd have to request. And then it knocks back on itself. And then you need to put it on the hoist and adjust the tension. But at the moment, it's doing nothing. So I need to adjust the tension so that it just lifts that area subtly So I need to lower Jude down to take that tension up. But you need to ensure that this tension is the same as the leg. So it picks up simultaneously. They're really great when you're problem solving. So if you're thinking you've got someone that's very asymmetrical and they have a significant curvature, adding a hip tape, you can then adjust them, the sliders, asymmetrically, which will help then to get a better position for that transfer. We often do talk to therapists about, is it all right to hook up one side slightly shorter? Well, yes, the sling's capable of doing that. As long as you've risk assessed and then you document it by just literally pulling one side slightly higher will mean you get a better transferring position. So absolutely, if you're faced with something quite challenging, think about this style. So this style is very good for a wriggler. The juice wriggly. It's the leg paddles support individually those legs. So, for a wriggler or asymmetrical, if you can twist, you've got those legs naturally realign and readjust according to the body dimensions there and the body positioning. So it's a very good adjustable style. Extender. So again, it's not going to shoot up into the groin like the first style. So versatile in that respect. Any questions on this one, Ray? We've got a recent viewer, so very welcome. If you kindly turn your camera off, it would be helpful so that we thank you, we can carry on then. So yes, so thinking about this style then, this is the universal or In-Situ Deluxe. Again, if anyone's got their microphone on, just heard some chattings, all right. All sizes, so from extra small up to extra large. Thinking about this is the single layer superfine, but we can do the double layer or the spacer, so 3 fabric options. We can add things like the hip tapes, they can be added. We can add a chest strap. So if you want to have a chest strap for positioning on the chest or under the bust for a lady, or a waist strap. Often we'll provide those for children, pediatrics, just a little waistband to keep them feeling a bit more secure. And also it's good for carers to know that they've got that in the right place. So the waistband will help with positioning. They know the waistband is in the right place, then everything else sorts itself out. So those can be added as well. I think that's everything about this style. Sizing is slightly different. So in situ sizes are slightly smaller. Because if a sling's been left in place, we don't want a big baggy sling hanging over the sides of a wheelchair or chair. So they're more discreet. So if you look at the sizing charts, which we will bring up shortly, then they may be different to a standard sling. So Judith's quite tiny, so she normally has a small standard, but I put her in a medium in situ because I know it's tailored down more. So just need to think about the sizing can be slightly different. So if this style doesn't suit, so if we take it completely off, I'm just thinking about pressure, because naturally we've got an edge here, toileting commode edge. So I think I've tangled that with her. So if you have that situation, then if it's left in place, then one option is to just ease out the leg sections. So just gently ease them back on themselves and position them to the sides. That's then reducing what's underneath. It's very minimal left underneath. So you just need to assess whether that's appropriate. If someone's padded or nappy, then you're fine. But you just need to think about there's still some binding. But you know, it's all about balanced, proportionate care, isn't it? You know, you need this style because you've got someone that's very wriggly and it's pretty suitable for that type of situation. You still need to access for toileting, so you've got that, but then you've got to weigh it up, probably having a problem with leaving it in. So it's all about working out the balance. But if you find that you don't want an aperture, then we do have another option. So I'll put it on the other hoist there, which is our In-Situ Recline. So this is an all-in-one. Jude, I've got it on the chair actually to start the sling. You can just just the sling off the chair. Not the chair yet, just the sling. Just to show you the style, I've got it set up, but just so you can picture the shape. This is the Recline. So it's very oblong. It does bucket because of the shaping there, but this needs to be applied on the bed. It's more tricky to get it on in a chair. But as you can see, there's no aperture, so it's very smooth. Generally, this is made in the spacer, so it's very popular in this spacer. It does, I've got it set up here in an amputee scenario because we know it works for many types of amputee situations. Short, long, through hip. And that's what I've done here, is just to show you. There is a pommel strap here. This section here helps to lift that centre and balance the legs rather than forcing them together. It just lifts that area slightly. So the legs are nicely balanced rather than pushed together. But with an amputee, you just need to be mindful if there's a recent surgery there for pain, etc. But a very good style. So this one, all in one, no aperture, very smooth, great. It comes with or without head support. Would suit many leave-in situations, except those most challenging. So I would say if you have someone really challenging, really asymmetrical, there's no adjustment with this. You need to then look at the Deluxe. So the Deluxe and this one, we manufacture tens of thousands of these per year because they're our most popular designs. And we know that they have been very successful depending on the different scenario. So that's where you need to establish that. I did put in this one, a little neck roll. These are quite good. It's like a little detachable accessory. And rather than have a full head support that can force the head forward, this nestles in the neck like that. And then it fixes through the shoulder loop like the head support tapes and back. And it would just naturally support the neck. Quite good if you've got someone that leans to the side because you can then just insert it at the side. It's adjustable. Works with most styles, but they're quite good just to show you the little neck roll there. We'll just put it in the back there. Just needs hooking up. So that's the Recline. Are we okay for questions?
Just one question, Mandy. Do the slings have pockets for the loops?
Okay, so pockets can be requested, but all I would say is that it depends where you want them. Is it legs or shoulders? So we can add them. Generally, it's to the leg sections, but think about the seating, because if you're folding up a tape, quite a long tape, into a little pocket, is that going to cause extra bulk? Because we've seen or we've heard of, you know, all that bulk causing an additional pressure point. So yes, we can do it, but you just need to be mindful where you want them. So the legs, usually the top section, not always needed because it can fold down behind the chair, but certainly a pocket here, it is possible.
Could you just demonstrate how the neck support roll goes onto the sling?
So absolutely. So the neck roll. So let me just take it out and explain. These tapes here, they unthread. So you've got to unthread them. You've got that. Okay, and then once it's positioned, you take the long tape through the shoulder So each side through the shoulder loop. And then back through the slider. The slider's got one side and then back. And then you tighten it to the optimum position there. So if we've got, I'll just put that one through. Once it's in position, you can leave it because it will just stay there. But if you have someone that leans to the side, tighten it this side. Sorry about my model here. So that it's on the side. You just tighten it or loosen it. An option there. Everything we're showing you has an instruction sheet on the website, so it will show you in detail how to do that with drawings and videos. So there is lots of help with fitting. Any more? Okay. So we've seen the benefit of this one and the benefit of the Deluxe. So we've come up with a mixture. So one of our new styles is a mixture between the benefit of having no aperture here, but the lovely paddle legs. So we feel that this is going to be a really popular style, and it's called the Recline Deluxe. Here we go. I'll just show you. So this is the recline shape, but these paddle legs. So it means the bottom is positioned here, and then you've got the paddles. So a really good combination. Let's put it on Jude, I think. Let's take this one away next. You can have a look. So it needs to go on a bed. It's a bit tricky to get it on a chair because, of course, it's going to be really smooth right under, and the little divided leg bit comes mid-thigh. But you apply it on the bed, and then the leg sections, same as the Deluxe, connect together, and then you've got this outside tape that feeds through. Got the outside pickup, but those individual leg sections. This one comes with a slightly different tape, and I'll explain that. So we'll go green, and it comes with a hip tape as standard, blue, I think. And yellow. Let's try that. So 3 tapes. These tapes they're called a silver safety slot tape. They're slightly different in appearance, but actually there's many benefits to this tape because they're very streamlined. And if they have to be left in, they fold up neatly, which I'll show you, and tuck away. They've got the same, increased strength actually, more than a loop, but they don't dangle and there's no loops getting caught in the wheels. The hoist will roll over them. So there's many benefits to this. But have a look on the website if you're interested in more about the slot. It's the silver safety slot. But as I said, this style comes as standard with this, unless you request standard loops. Right, so this is the Recline Deluxe shape. I've just slightly reclined you a little bit, but you've got, let's have a look, all very smooth here, no aperture, good supportive legs, so juice regularly. You know, you've got that control because of the those individual paddles. So a really good shape once it sort of gets out. People are loving it. Good for amputees as well, because you've got that smoothness, but the support for the residual limb in those Deluxe legs there can come with or without head support, chest strap, etc. Thing. Now add all those on. Was there a question there?
You've answered it.
Oh, did I?
Support, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, all the slings will come with or without. So you don't need, you just need to decide which is the most suitable for an individual. So that's the Recline Deluxe if you need to have a look. I'll just, Ree, if you wouldn't mind just bringing up a data sheet. So on the website, we've tried to put as much information that will help you. There's a real library of useful backs and things to help you, but this is what you'd get for the Recline. So every product will have a page like this detailing the sizing, the coding, so you can build a code, images of what it looks like, all the features, the washing, safe working load. The data sheet will give an overview of everything. So this is really helpful if you will need to print this off and have it with you. So it gives all the coding, the sizing, the sling dimensions, and where to measure. So some slings you'll measure around the shoulders and the back length. This one requires you to go around the bottom. And it's really important that you have a bent leg to measure that so that you get the right dimensions. There's a sizing guide as well. So sizing and shape guide. So as much information as you can. The instructions for use are all detailed in drawings. Thanks, Ray. If you come back to me, please. If you find though that sizing, that your patient's not going to fit into a standard size, then talk to us. We've got lots of ways to help you. We've got a way of delivering an e-assessment like this, where we're with you with the client, and we can help you measure, see what's going on, and try and do some advice on options. So we can do that. We do have more agents now and people on the road that can help. So if you need something, talk to us. We want to support you as much as we can. We just ask for some information so that we can qualify it and see who would be most appropriate to help you. So there is a good way of helping you guys as much as possible. I know often you won't know until you try it. So we do have some trial slings if you want to, as long as we know what size, what fabric, style, then we've got an option of trialing as well. So there is ways of supporting you as much as we could. So just take this off. The only other style, or the standard styles, would be if you have a different type of hoist. So if you've got a stud hoist, so we've looked at these which are looped, and you've got this wishbone that has a need for a loop. Then there's stud options, and these are mostly in hospital environments, but this is what we call a wishbone spreader bar. Slightly different, where it's got a different shape, but it may be that you don't ever get involved, so that's fine, don't need to worry about this. But it's necessary for the sling to have one of these clips because it's locking onto a stud type. And we've got this universal clip that locks clearly onto the stud. It's a great shape. You've not got the hoist in your face, but you're only limited to certain styles of sling. One of them being this type or this type. So you can't add the deluxe leg and you can't add hip tapes. So it's got to be one of a couple of styles. And on the website, you'll see that under the product section, it goes from loops to clips, and then you can see all the clip options. But we do have, this is the standard option, very general shape, a very general shape sling. And this one has had the aperture filled in. So this one is very smooth under the bottom. So we've closed those legs together here and filled it. So one you can toilet with and one you can't. So there's two options for that. And if it's not something you come across, don't worry. But if you need more information, have a look at the website. Are we all right for questions, Ray? Yep. Okay, so just those are all the options we've got. I've got a couple of new things I wanted to introduce, but let me just summarise what we've talked about. The website's really clear. So as I said, always look at the product section and there'll be loops or clips and then the in-situ page underneath either loops or clips, and it will take you to all the options we've got. So it's really really quite hopefully clear as possible, giving you the styles. So always think about what style suits the scenario and the condition. So once you pick the shaping, then you can think about the fabrics. Then you can think about anything to add on, and then sizing. So it's just building the picture. But we do have lots of extra things that we can help you with. We've introduced a new tilt-in space chair, which I know, I'm just going to quickly show you. It's a lovely lightweight chair that converts to a day bed. It's got 3 to 4 degree pressure relief, because you've got these very clever airbags that distribute the weight. So it's a really great bed for hospice, nursing homes, anything like that. So we're really offering this in 2 sizes. This is the adult one and there's a pediatric one. We have got agents that can show you this, bring it and see, because I think the best thing is to see. But it changes position. You've got a tilting space here, the back section comes down, the wings open up. So to adjust, this folds down, the leg sections come up. There's lots of very good features on it. And I know I don't want to sort of brush it, but certainly anyone that's interested in this, please let us know, because we certainly can bring one to show you. But we have often recommended the Recline sling, so the Recline, which is the all-in-one, because that literally nestles perfectly. Once you've transferred, you can tuck the tapes down the side of the arms and the wings there, and it sits very neatly within this chair. So really good new addition to our products. So it's nice and light. There's casters on that roll really nicely over all surfaces. There is an odd green caster, but if you do press that, then it means the chair will move in a directional position rather than spinning. So it's a really good feature there. You can add a tray, footrest, and a lap belt, things you can add on. But again, look on the website, because there's certainly a good section on the chair if you're interested. Are we okay with that? The final product, which we're very excited about, because we've only just launched it this week, is our Bariatric In-Situ. So it's an in-situ hammock. So we talked earlier about the benefits of the Deluxe legs, but the all-in-one, so the Recline Deluxe. So this is our version of that for bariatric options. Now, when hoisting a bariatric, it's very different. And often, once you've hoisted them, it's a challenge to get the sling out. So we know this is going to be really popular. And it's made in a new fabric. So it's manufacturing a new silver spacer eco-made fabric. So this is being made from recycled textile products. It's a very clever fabric. It also incorporates the Coolmax. So we talked about the Coolmax benefits in the fabrics we've got earlier that help to wick away moisture. And on the inside, there's an additive called Fresh FX. So that's got a silver additive, which helps with antibacterial properties. So the combination is very clever and very beneficial for our bariatric users. The sling, there's a great brochure online now, and all the information is there with spec sheets. But the shaping at the top is very carefully designed for the apple or pear-shaped bariatric body shapes. So for an apple-shaped body, then we've got these tucks that are quite short, and it allows then the shaping to go around an apple shape. Let's just turn it around you. So this then will go around an apple-shaped body and give the support where it's needed. If you have more of a pear-shaped body, these tucks then are longer. They're stitched down longer so that then you've got fullness around a pear-shaped body. And it really does work. We tried a pair of the longer tucks on an apple-shaped body and it didn't give the right support, which is really interesting. So there's two options of shaping, the short or long tucks, and there's a size 1 or size 2. Size 1 would probably meet the needs of a 30, 35 stone person. But if we just go back to the legs. So these are deluxe legs. So this would need to be applied on the bed. Again, a real challenge, but once it's on, it can be left in place. And then you've got the leg paddles that have an inside and an outside pickup. So we know with heavier legs, it will be helpful to have an individual inside leg tape. And that's on a slider to adjust for positioning there. And then the slip fit fabric to both sides. We're going to do a full explanation of this in a session on the 11th of July. So if you're interested, then please register for that so we can cover it in more detail rather than rushing it now. But as it's just been introduced this week, I thought it'd be quite helpful to show you, just give you a little taster. So that's the new Bariatric In-Situ Hammock. Thanks, Jude. Was there a question there?
Is there a size suitable in this sling that might work with someone that is 19 stone?
Okay, so that style, that in-situ recline, a standard version will go up to 220, which is 35 stone. So look at the standard option. If the benefit, I suppose you're looking at the shaping. So if you want the bariatric shaping, which has got the short or long tucks, then we can do it. We can do most things, but talk to us because we'd have to then, it would be more like a specialized product. So we'd incorporate the shaping, but in a standard fabric. So at the moment, that lovely eco-made fabric is just for the bariatric in-situ hammock. Anything that's not that will be in our spacer, the normal standard black superfine plus. I think we're there. I think we've covered things. There's always going to be extra things. There's always additional things we can do, different shapes, different sizes. We tailor make so many very challenging styles, but it's just to give you a taste of our sort of off the shelf stuff, because most of things on the website we will have in stock, so they're available quickly because we know often it's needed urgently. So we usually have most of those in standard sizes on the shelf. But please, if there's any questions or any queries, contact our customer services. We've got a very good team that will help you with your individual queries. I'm very happy to link up and do groups. So if you've got a little team at work that have in your organisation that think they benefit from a little individual session, please contact customer services and they'll pass that to me so I can set it up. So really happy to do that. But thank you very much for your time. Hopefully it's been helpful. Thank you to Judith and Rhiannon for their support here as well. Are there any final questions? Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. How long can a user stay seated on your
Okay,
that's a very good question, and it would depend on the individual. So you really need to, you don't want to transfer somebody into their chair with a sling on and leave them all day. You've got to still monitor them, check them for pressure, repositioning, because people can move, they can shift their weight, the sling can slump, they can slump. So it's down to the individual. We're not able to say a definite time because it may not be appropriate generally. So please, that's an individual answer. depending on the circumstances. But thank you very much. Thank you guys very much. And hopefully we'll see you in our future sessions. So thank you.